Just like, yeah, you're right. Guys set? All right. Well, Happy New Year, first of all. Obviously, disappointed that we're doing this press conference today and we're not on the practice field. So that's, look, our goal is to win a championship, and in order to do that, you have to either, one, win your division, or two, secure a wild card spot. So obviously, we did not win the division this year. Had enough wins for a wild card spot, but obviously lost on the tiebreaker. So here we are. But I will say I am very proud of the players and coaches this year, especially for how we finished the last 3 quarters of the season. Probably the one thing that really stuck out to me as far as the difference from this year, from 2016, is I really saw like a high level of grit and determination that we just lacked last year. And I credit Anthony Lynn for that. Anthony has instilled that in this football team. I think we saw it week after week. I think we saw it after our 0-4 start. That was some tough times right there. We're talking about, a team in a new market, in a new stadium, trying to get used to their surroundings. We start off poorly at 0-4. All right, now what are we going to do about it? And our head coach never flinched once, and I think our players saw that. I know our players saw that and reacted well to that, and then started playing better football, got on a roll at the end of the year. So, but obviously it wasn't quite enough to get it done this year. But we've come a long way in the last 12 months. If we think about where we were, some of us last year at this time, and where we are now, it's been a lot of change, but a lot of challenges. But we're on the right pace. We're going in the right direction, and I can tell you that the commitment and the support from Dean and John and AG are a big reason why we've been able to navigate these last 12 months and get us in position for next year. So, and then just real quick, I'll touch on the football team. Offensively this year, we had 2 goals coming into this year. We had a lot of goals, but 2 points of emphasis where we had to cut their turnovers down and got to protect the quarterback. And I think we definitely did that. I mean, Philip did a great job protecting the football this year at the quarterback spot. I think we were 3rd or 4th in the league in least amount of giveaways. Overall, we were plus 12 in the turnover ratio, which is one of the most important stats for correlating to wins. Something we've been stressing and trying to get to for years. We got there this year as far as creating turnovers on defense and not turning the ball over on offense. I think everybody did a great job with that. Our skill position guys did a great job protecting the football this year. And we protected the quarterback. I think, you lead the league in least sacks allowed. That's pretty good. And our new offensive line coach, Pat Meyer, did a great job with the group working there. I know Melvin had a great year running the ball, but we still have some work to do in the run game, obviously. I feel good about that with Anthony and his staff moving forward. We had some struggles on offense, scoring points early in the year. I think we saw that kind of get in the groove as the year went on. So, and then defensively, most important stat on defense is points allowed. We're 3rd in the league in points allowed. So that was a big improvement in prior years. Second most important stat is 3rd down conversion rate. There we need some work. I think we were 18 or 19 in the league there. I think we have some pieces to get that down lower, but we have some work to do there. And then 3rd most important stat is red zone defense, and we're 1st in the league. And that's another thing that we've been trying to get better at here, and the guys did a great job. And the defense starting to get that vision of having some pass rushers, having some guys who can cover. They both work hand in hand. The pass rush helps the coverage helps the pass rush. So we saw that this year. The guys played with a lot of enthusiasm. I'm not a big fan of the celebration rule, but I love the fact that when our defense makes plays, they celebrate together. It's not just individual. It's about we. It's not about me. And you saw that throughout the whole year, how those guys played, really on both sides of the ball. But you certainly see it on defense when those guys are celebrating, so that's good to see. Special teams-wise, I thought our punt return game really improved this year. I thought our coverage units did a nice job improving from the year before. Obviously, our kicking game was not NFL quality this year. If there's probably one of my biggest regrets this year is that I did not do a good enough job addressing that position, and I kind of put our head coach Anthony in in a tough position as far as managing the football game. So, you know, it happens. Not really happy about it. We'll kind of assess where we were, and we'll get it fixed. I'm very confident we'll be able to get that fixed, but obviously that just had to get better this year, and I did not do a good enough job there, but we'll get that addressed. So that's just real quick on just a quick overview on the football team. I'll just kind of open up the questions right there.
Tom, just talking to Philip and Anthony earlier this week, they both expressed kind of a desire for continuity. How important is that for you to kind of keep as many people involved with this team moving forward? And if you could touch on maybe the status of the coordinators kind of going forward too.
Sure. Yeah, you'd love to keep continuity with players and coaches. To be honest with you, it's hard to do in this league. Our coaching staff, yeah, we'd love to keep all three coordinators. That's the plan. That's what we're expecting to do. We are going to lose one coach. We're going to lose James Craig. He's going to go to LSU as their head offensive line coach. So it's hard to keep your exact same staff year after year, especially nowadays, but that's our plan.
How do you assess the season that Mike Williams had, just given that he was kind of in and out of the lineup?
Well, I'm pleased he got back on the field because, early on during training camp, we just didn't know. He worked really hard to get back. So, that's good just for the learning part of it. He had some receivers in front of him that played real well and stayed healthy. And Mike was way behind. Receivers a tough position to come in this league as a rookie and play right away. And it's even harder when you miss all of OTAs and all of training camp. So we gradually got him in there. He did learn a good amount this year. It's going to take this offseason of working with Phillip, working with the quarterbacks. He knows the offense, but there's a difference between knowing the offense in a book and actually applying it on the field, getting used to the timing and reps with the quarterbacks. That will all come this offseason. So at least we got him back on the field. He got some work, but we're expecting more next year.
What is your assessment of the defense, especially with secondary with Casey Hayward and Trey Boston? How much of a priority will Trey Boston be in the offseason?
I thought the secondary did a really, really good job. I know they gave up the one big play against Oakland this past weekend, but all in all, we did not give up very many big plays this year. I thought the corners did a great job. Safeties played really well. As far as free agents, all of it, the season just ended. We'll kind of assess where we are, talk with the coaches. A lot of questions that have to be answered still. But I was really pleased with that group. I was pleased with how Trey stepped in. And you talk about the enthusiasm on defense. I mean, you guys that are around Trey, that's him. And he brings that to you too. And he played some really good football for us.
Tom, you mentioned free agency. Antonio Gates is going to be a free agent. Are you hopeful to be able to bring him back?
We'll probably let some time go a little bit after the season now, and then sit down with Antonio and just kind of talk to him and see what his thoughts are, what he's thinking, see what our thoughts, what we're thinking. And I don't have an answer for that right now, but obviously he's one of the greatest Chargers of all time. And to see a Hall of Famer this year, really accept a secondary role, you don't see that very often. And still mentoring our young players on the practice field, still playing at a really good level. And we saw that. We've got 2 weeks to go in the season where we have to win 2 more games. We really need him. He steps up and plays at the same level as he had before. He's a special guy.
With the way they handled that, does that make you more willing to maybe be open to the possibility of coming back?
I shouldn't say it's rare how he handled it, because we shouldn't be surprised the type of person he is. But he really did handle it well. And like I said, he stepped up and played really well those last 2 weeks. It's a unique situation with players like him. They just don't come along very often, and there's a reason why he's going to the Hall of Fame. But I don't have any answers right now moving forward, but we'll get there.
So I asked you this last year. You're eligible for Hard Knocks again this season. Or it's one of your favorite subjects to talk about. Would you be willing to do Hard Knocks this year?
I'll tell you what. So we have a really good relationship with NFL Films, and Ross Kidover and his staff, they do really, really excellent work, and that show is really good because they give great access. Am I comfortable asking our players and coaches to work every day with microphones and cameras on them? Not entirely. I just think people work differently when you're under the microscope like that, being filmed. But that all being said, I realize there's some benefits beyond football to being on that show. And we're pretty adaptable people here. And if it so happens that we do it, then we'll make it work. We'll adapt to it. But, we shall see.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I gave my answer.
Tom, Casey, and Melvin go for free agents after next season. Is it going to be a priority for you guys to take care of them this offseason, or are you guys going to wait till next year?
No, those are the things you look at in this offseason. It's not just, you talked about the free agents. And, when you look at what you have cap space-wise, you also have to take into account any extensions you want to do. So those are discussions we'll have, between now and going into March, kind of see where we are.
Kicking game, do you anticipate looking at veterans who've done it before, and do you have fewer questions about going forward?
I mean, we're going to look at everything. Yeah, young guys, veterans, we gotta get the right guy in here. It just didn't work out the way we had planned it this year.
Is it possible that you bring Novak back and make Kaiser a kickoff specialist?
Drew showed in that Dallas game that he's got a chance to kick off if he starts working at it a little bit more. There's some kickers around the league that have kicked a long time. Adam Vinatieri being one of them off the top of my head that, he's had a kickoff specialist as a punter that's been doing the kickoffs for a while. So certainly something to look at. It's like I said, there's a lot of different ways we can go. We got a lot of work to do on it, but yeah, it's certainly an option, sure.
Did Phillips' play this year change kind of your timeline for him in your mind for how long you think he can be successful in this league?
I haven't really had a timeline on him per se. At that position, because it is obviously so important, you're always looking for who that next guy would be, so you're always prepared to do that if the situation arises. Even my first year here, we scouted that position as hard as any other, because if that situation arises, we may have to go that route. Maybe the guy doesn't play right away. Maybe the guy sits for a number of years. But Phillip is well prepared as anybody, still playing at a high level. But I don't really have a timeline for him. But I know he played really well for us this year, and expect him to come back and do the same thing next year.
How much of a priority is it to draft a quarterback this year, considering how Phillips is playing right now?
Like I said, it's been a priority every year to have the next guy. I mean, because obviously Kellen is the backup. Kellen is older as well, so you have to have a future plan. And you just never know when that opportunity is going to be there. So you just can't sit back and wait and then decide they go into 1 year and say, this year we're going to draft a quarterback, because it may not line up for you. You don't go into a draft thinking, hey, this year we're going to draft a quarterback, running back, receiver. You never know how it's going to play out. So we'll be prepared whatever year it is. If the right guy's there at the right spot, then we do it. Because as well as Phillips playing, we know, Phillips not going to be here for 10 more years. I'm hoping he's here for a good amount of more years, but, we have to have a plan for the future. That's part of our job.
What are your thoughts on Cardell as possibly one of those guys that's going to continue to get better?
You know what? We saw some great tools this year, and Anthony had even mentioned it during the season. I mean, he makes, 2 or 3 throws each practice that really open your eyes. And now we'll have at least, the full offseason of him getting to know the offense and then get a good look at him in training camp and the preseason. He certainly has the skills to do it, so which is one of the reasons why we brought him in.
Tom, how's Forrest Lamp recovering from surgery, and kind of when do you anticipate him back on the field?
Everything is on target. Hopefully some point in OTAs he'll work back in. I mean, the positive of him getting hurt early is that he'll be on the field earlier. So he got hurt in August, so some point in OTAs, hopefully he's on track.
How did the other rookie kind of offensive line grade out over the course of the season? I know you haven't done your full evaluations yet, but how did Dan Feeney play? And you saw Willis and Teddy too.
Yeah. I thought Dan did a really nice job. He really did. I think like most rookies, the later you get in the year, it gets tough. It's a long season. It's a grind. He battled through it. But I think he's got a bright future. And I think Sam, when Sam stepped in, he held his own. And I think Sam's got some developmental qualities to help us in whatever role that may be. But it's good to have some youth in there. We have Forrest Lamp coming back. I thought Russell Okun did a really, really solid job for us at left tackle. I mean, he was a rock for us over there. He's a team leader. He protected the blind side for Phillip, and was just really reliable for us over there.
Tom, you just finished your 5th season. How would you evaluate your job as a general manager from when you started till now?
That's usually your job, right? Right? Evaluating my job. So, look, we got to get better. Just got to get better. I mean, we can't win a championship unless we get in the playoffs. And like I said before, there's only 2 ways in. We got to find a way to win the division. We haven't won the division since I've been here, so that's really starts there. But, I think we're on the right track. I wish we could get started next year right now. As far as actually playing, we've got to wait for this season to end and then get ready to go.
Tom, how is Jason Barrett health-wise, and with him coming back on the fifth-year option, how much flexibility does that give you at that position with the way Trevor played?
Yeah, so he's on track. He was doing some running yesterday on the grass. I couldn't be more excited to add him to the group. I mean, I thought the secondary did a really great job. I thought Trevor stepped up. It seems like it was very quiet, but he played really, really good football. And obviously with Casey on one side, people are going to start to target Trevor a little bit. Trevor stepped up every single time. So, and Desmond King gave us great snaps in a variety of different ways. We had Jason in that group. That's very, very strong. And this is a passing league. You have to be able to cover, and you need a lot of corners. You need a lot of different styles sometimes too. So, I'm glad to get him back in the mix. And he's one of our leaders. He really is. He's got some intangible leadership characteristics that are hard to find.
With that many guys that can play at that position, do you look to be a little flexible? Maybe one of those guys is able to play safety, or how do you mix all those guys in?
Yeah, I hadn't got that far yet. I just know you need a lot of corners in this league. We were really, really lucky that our top 4 corners played 16 games this year. And the top 3 guys played all 16 games, so Michael Davis really didn't play a whole lot at corner. That rarely does that happen. So,
being more conservative with Jason working back in just because of last year and him aggravating it when he did come back?
I don't know about being more conservative, and you just be smart with it. I don't think we were overly aggressive with it last year. It just kind of happened the way it did. So, this surgery wasn't an ACL reconstruction, which takes a lot longer. So he'll be back in the off-season program a little bit earlier, but we'll be smart with it.
This is maybe a really big question, but how does this team go about scoring more points? It feels like you guys were, obviously had a quarterback for a ton of yards. You had receivers that caught a ton of yards. A running back who ran for over 1,000 yards. But were you happy with the point totals? And what does this team need to do to get better in the red zone?
The way that question started, I thought it was going to be a really bad question, but it actually turned out all right. No, because it's an interesting question, though, because we moved the ball a lot. I don't know where we ended up in scoring, but it probably wasn't as high as you would think. A lot of that's just red zone offense, and obviously some missed field goals doesn't help either. But a lot of it's red zone offense. It's a situational football. If it's a passing league, number one, it's a situational football league too, and we got to get better in the red zone, getting 7 and not 3. We have the pieces to do that. We have Melvin. Austin Eckler did a really nice job for us this year. We had the tight ends. We had the receivers. It's just a matter of trying to score a little more in the red zone. I think it's there.
You've been around a lot of good receivers. What kind of year did Allen have that impressed you about him?
I have a hard time just comparing, but the way he worked in the offseason to come back from the injury was really impressive. Like, he was on a mission to get back, and then once he got back, he was just determined to show what he could do. And I know that there's obviously other receivers in the league that are great route runners. I don't know if anybody's better than Keenan. There's some other guys that are pretty good too, but Keenan, he's a great route runner, and he just has a natural feel for the game that I think he's just born with. And he's got a great rapport with our quarterback too. So, he was a tough cover for a lot of people this year, and a lot of people knew we were going to him on 3rd down, and he still produced for us.
You talked about sort of the running game. You look more for a veteran presence and you look through the draft. Like, what are some of the areas you feel like you need to?
Well, I think with improving the running game, it's more or less, working on what we have right now. I think the pieces are there. Anthony Lynn comes from a background of really knowing how to run the football. So I'm confident we'll get better there. The numbers looked okay this year. I think we can be a lot better there.
Tom, you mentioned the health of the cornerbacks and how those guys were able to stay on the field. Really, the health of your entire team was a lot different than it was the previous 2 seasons.
Yes.
Do you feel like a lot of things that you guys implemented early on led to the success of that?
I hope. It could have been luck, right? It could have been luck, but we changed a lot in the off season, and I got to say, at least some of it's got to help. Everything from nutrition to strength and conditioning to training to even our practice fields and everything in between. And we changed about 10, 11, 12 things that tried to make a difference. with injuries, and then you got the other thing is always luck. But and our players bought into it. They really did. And a lot of it's just, there's a lot of extra work you have to do to keep your body ready, and a lot of it's on them too. But a lot of it's the resources we can give them, and we gave them as many resources we possibly could. We did a lot of study last year. I talked to a lot of different people about some different things. It's nothing magical, but we implemented a lot of different things, and it came out. I mean, we had some guys that go down, which was going to happen, but all in all, I thought we were a pretty healthy football team this year going into the end, which is another reason why, it would have been nice to get in the playoffs to give us a chance here, because I thought we had a pretty good team going in, but we didn't do enough to get there.
Can you give us a look at what the next 2-3 months look like for you and your staff as you prepare for the combine, free agency, and just what that's like?
I guess probably threefold. One, still assessing our current team, getting together with the coaches, talking about, and some of that we got to take a little bit of time off, not time off, but step away and not do some evaluations right away, right after the season's over. Because I know the coaches, it's a long year, it's a grind. We're all upset we didn't make the playoffs. Take a step back, give it a couple days, go back, look at our players again, kind of assess what they did well, what they didn't, some strengths and weaknesses, some needs for next year. And then this month we also have some college all-star games to do some college draft work. Our scouts will be at different all-star games. I'll try and get to a couple as well. And then with the pro scouts, as far as free agency, assessing, these are some of our needs, what's out there, how does it line up with our salary cap, those sorts of things. So January is a pretty big planning month, except for the college work. That's a little more scouting. And then February is really a lot of the same thing. You start implementing it in March.
Tom, you mentioned earlier maybe some extensions this offseason. Cap-wise, do you have the flexibility? Do you feel like you guys need to get done what you have to get done?
I think so. And when you look at the cap number, a lot of times people think, well, that's how much money you can spend on free agents. That's not always the case. Your restricted free agent tenders will take up some spots. Obviously, you have to have a budget for next year's injury reserve. Any extensions you do is going to take up space, but we think we have enough space to do what we need to do.
Tom, have you guys heard anything about playing next year, whether it be in Mexico City or the United Kingdom, anything like that?
I have not yet. It's more on the league level, and I think they'll probably have something out in the next couple of weeks. Usually is when they announce the teams are playing in the international games, but I don't have anything yet.
What were your impressions of the team's first year at Step-Up Center?
Well, we won the last 5 games there. We won 5 in a row at the end, so we finished well. I think the longer we're here, the better we play, the better the atmosphere will be. I think it's a pretty neat place to watch a football game. But we're the new kids on the block, and we got to show what we are, show that we're an exciting team to watch. Got to get in the playoffs and get people excited, and there'll be more and more Charger fans there.
When you look at the Chiefs 0-8 and 2 losses to them this year, as a talent man, do you consider maybe Chiefs-specific traits that will help you get players who could beat them, or is that too far down the line? Is there something there that maybe you feel like you could address?
Well, we'd like to beat them. That is true. We were 0-2 against them this year, and they won the division, so they're the team to beat. Hard to build your team to go beat one team. We got other teams we got to play. But obviously they're leading the division right now. They're well coached and they're talented. We got to beat them.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.